I wasn't supposed to be awake that night, but I was. And when I stepped into the living room, I saw her standing by the window, bathed in moonlight, wearing his shirt and nothing else. When our eyes met, she didn't say a word. Just silence. Heavy, dangerous silence that seemed to swallow the room. Finally, her voice cut through it. "Go to bed, Ethan. This isn't right." But her eyes told me something completely different. I never asked for any of this. When my dad married Claire, I was 19, still trying to convince myself that I was okay with it. He'd met her at a business retreat in Colorado, and 3 months later, they were already planning a wedding. When I came back from college that summer, she was already moved in, already rearranging our home, replacing old family photos with newer, shinier ones. Versions of our life that didn't include my mom. Claire was impossible to ignore. She was in her mid-30s, tall, always composed, with piercing green eyes that made you feel like she could see straight through you. She wasn't loud. She wasn't fake. She just was. And somehow, that made everything harder. The way she carried herself, the elegance in her silence, the way she touched Dad's arm when she laughed. It all felt designed to test me. I told myself it didn't matter, that it was just temporary discomfort. But then came the weekend, Dad went away on a trip with his law firm buddies. It was just me and Claire in the house. She offered to cook dinner. I should have said no, but I didn't. The kitchen felt smaller with just the two of us. She poured wine without asking. I wasn't even 21, but she didn't care. We talked about school, about my part-time job, about nothing that mattered. But her gaze lingered. And when I looked up from my plate and caught her staring, she didn't look away. After dinner, we sat in the living room. She curled up at one end of the couch, sipping wine, watching a movie I couldn't even focus on. I could smell her perfume drifting across the cushions. My pulse wouldn't settle. "Do you hate me?" she asked suddenly, breaking the silence. "Hate you," I echoed. "For marrying your dad?" She clarified, her voice low. It caught me off guard. "No, I don't hate you. You barely look at me, Ethan. You treat me like I'm furniture. Polite, cold, distant furniture." I hesitated. I don't know where I fit anymore. She didn't answer right away. Then almost in a whisper, she said, "I don't know where I fit either." That was the first moment I saw her differently. Not just as the woman who replaced my mom, not just as Dad's wife, but as someone lonely, someone pretending, someone trapped. That night, I couldn't sleep. I came downstairs for water and saw her by the window, in one of Dad's shirts, oversized and barely buttoned. The moonlight traced her silhouette in a way I can't forget. Her eyes locked on mine. She didn't move. And neither did I. "Go to bed, Ethan. This isn't right," she whispered. But the words and her eyes didn't match. And we both knew it. The days that followed were quiet torture. She acted normal. Friendly smiles, casual questions. But every glance lingered too long. Every accidental touch felt loaded. One morning I found her in the kitchen, making pancakes, humming softly, her hair still damp from the shower. "Thanks," I muttered. She smiled faintly, not looking at me. "Don't thank me. Your family." I didn't know if it was a reminder, or a warning. When Dad came back Sunday night, everything looked perfect again. Claire kissed him, laughed at his jokes, touched his shoulder when she talked. She looked every bit the devoted wife. But when I passed her on the way to the fridge, she brushed my arm lightly and whispered, almost inaudibly, "Sleep okay this weekend," and my heart nearly stopped. The next few weeks blurred into one another. I tried to avoid her. I picked up longer shifts at work, stayed out late with friends, did anything to stay away. But Claire never disappeared completely. She'd leave little notes for me. "Eat something. Laundry's done. You forgot your charger." Always signed with a simple smiley face. And then one night, everything shattered. Dad had gone out to meet a client. It was storming, the kind of storm that rattled the windows, and the power kept flickering. I was in the garage, hunched over my bike, when the door creaked open. It was Claire. She was soaked from the rain, her white blouse clinging to her skin, her hair dripping onto the floor. She was barefoot, shivering. "I locked myself out," she said, voice low. The spare keys not under the mat anymore. I grabbed a towel, handed it to her, tried not to look at the way her blouse clung to her body. And then she whispered, almost to herself, "I miss being seen." I looked at her, startled. "I mean really seen," she continued. "Not like a trophy, not like a possession, just seen." For the first time, I didn't see her as my dad's wife. I saw her as a woman struggling under the weight of her own loneliness. And before I could stop myself, I said the one thing I shouldn't have. "I see you." She froze, then stepped closer. Closer than ever before. "Ethan," she breathed. I know. Her hand brushed against my face. And then she kissed me. It wasn't frantic or wild. It was quiet, heavy. A kiss full of guilt and confusion, and yet undeniable. She pulled away first. Her voice trembled. "This can't happen again." I nodded, but inside I knew it was a lie. The next morning she acted like nothing had happened. She smiled, poured coffee, sat beside Dad at breakfast, as if nothing had changed. But when I looked at her, she avoided my gaze. For a while, that was it. Just silence. But the tension never left. One afternoon, I came home early from work and heard muffled sobs coming from the laundry room. I hesitated, then knocked softly. She opened the door, her eyes red mascara streaked across her cheeks. "He forgot our anniversary," she said, with a bitter laugh. Took a call instead. Said we'd reschedule. Like it was a dentist appointment. I didn't know what to say. I just stood there. And then suddenly, she hugged me. Her arms around me, desperate, trembling. I didn't pull away. "You make me feel like I still exist," she whispered, looking up at me with tear-stained eyes. That night it happened again. A kiss, a touch, nothing more. But everything had changed. We kept pretending. Pretending we weren't falling. Pretending we could walk the edge of a cliff without going over. I told myself it was temporary, that once I went back to school in the fall, it would fade away. But it didn't. We found our own language. Silent glances. Accidental touches that weren't accidents. Pauses that said more than words ever could. And then one evening, Dad found my phone. There was a picture I had taken by accident, or maybe not. Claire in the backyard, hair blowing in the wind, smiling at something I had said. Just a picture, but too intimate, too real. "Why do you have this?" he asked. I had no answer. Claire stepped in, her voice smooth. "It was for my birthday slideshow." She lied. So natural, I almost believed it myself. But Dad didn't. From that moment, he started watching us, watching her, watching me. Claire pulled away, stopped talking to me, grew cold. It was as if she erased what had happened. Until the night before I left for college, she knocked on my door. "I shouldn't be here," she whispered. "I know. I'm sorry. I'm not." She smiled sad and beautiful and kissed me one last time. "I'll always remember you," she said softly. And then she was gone. Sometimes love doesn't come wrapped in red ribbons or perfect endings. Sometimes it comes tangled in guilt, wrapped in silence, sealed with a kiss you can never forget. She said it was wrong, but she still let it happen. And so did I. Maybe it was love, maybe it was loneliness, or maybe it was just two people reaching for something they should never have touched. I don't know. What I do know is those moments never really leave you. They linger in the quiet, in the space between memories and regrets. And sometimes I still wonder, if love feels this wrong, can it still be called love? Or was it just a mistake dressed in passion? What do you think?